Phones all in the garage. Remember my first.
Hold on, look what's in the driveway.
Hey,
you know what I mean? Not come back.
thank you
For
so
real.
much.
For real, for sure. I love y'all. I see y'all later.
We love you. Keep doing
Almost a year has been the most challenging year I've ever had to face in my life. Like, I get so freaking mad, dog. Like, why do we have to go through this?
We, the jury, found the defendant, Hernandez Govan, not guilty in count 2 of the indictment.
3 hours. That's all it took for a jury to decide Hernandez Govan wasn't guilty of orchestrating one of the most shocking murders in Memphis hip-hop history. The man prosecutors called the mastermind behind Young Dolph's execution walked out of that courtroom a free man. Meanwhile, the rapper who turned down a $22 million record deal lay in a grave, riddled with nearly 24 bullets. November 17th, 2021. A white Mercedes pulls up outside Makeda's homemade cookies in South Memphis. 2 men jump out, guns drawn. Within seconds, Adolph, Young Dolph, Thornton Jr. is gunned down in broad daylight while buying cookies for his mother. The shooter got life in prison, but the man who allegedly set it all up? He's back on the streets of Memphis right now. I didn't have nothing to do with it, Govan told reporters after his acquittal.
I knew in my heart I was innocent.
But if he didn't arrange the $100,000 hit on Young Dolph, who did? Was it really about a music industry beef that started 7 years earlier? Or something deeper, more personal? And why was Anthony Big Jook Mims, the man prosecutors claimed ordered the hit, gunned down himself just months before Govan's trial? The official story doesn't add up. The pieces don't fit. And for Young Dolph's family, there's no closure, no peace, just more questions. This isn't just another rapper killed in the streets. This is about money, power, revenge, and a legal system that couldn't or wouldn't connect all the dots. By the end of this video, you'll understand how easily words can escalate into violence, how loyalty can turn deadly, and most importantly, how to recognize when conflicts around you are heading toward a point of no return. This isn't just their story. It's about the warning signs we all miss in our own lives until it's too late.
Our challenge is state law is weak. We have weak state laws that allow easy and widespread access to guns, while at the same time not punishing the wrongful use of those guns.
Welcome to Hidden Crime Network. What you're about to see isn't just another Memphis rap beef gone wrong. Most people will watch this, feel shocked for a minute, then scroll to the next video. But you're not most people, are you? The truth in this case might actually save your life someday. The warning signs, the escalation patterns, they happen in neighborhoods across America every single day. If you want to be the person who spots these patterns before they turn deadly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our updates. Don't be the one saying, "I should have seen this coming," when it's too late. Where are you watching from? Share your country in the comment below. Let's connect. Some of you might be closer to similar situations than you realize. Now, back to Memphis, where a man who gave back to his community ended up in a pool of blood over words exchanged years earlier.
Welcome back, everyone. A Memphis rapper is giving back to the community he says made him who he is today. People stood in line outside Memphis Athletic Ministries ahead of Young Dolph.
November 17th, 2021. A Wednesday afternoon in South Memphis. The kind of fall day where the air feels crisp but not cold. Makeda's homemade cookies sits on Airways Boulevard, a family-owned spot, known for butter cookies so good they'd make you close your eyes when you bite into them. Young Dolph loved those cookies. Loved them so much he'd stop by whenever he was in town. The owners even put his picture on the wall. Their most famous customer. That day, Dolph pulled up in his camouflage-wrapped Corvette, parked right out front. No security with him, no entourage, just a man getting cookies for his mom. Inside, people recognized him. How could they not? In Memphis, Dolph wasn't just famous. He was royalty. At 12:22 p.m., security cameras caught it. A white Mercedes-Benz pulls up. Two men hop out. Both armed. Both wearing masks. Glass shatters. Gunshots echo. 22 of them. The sound bounces off buildings up and down Airways Boulevard. When police arrive, they find Dolph on the floor. Multiple gunshot wounds. He's pronounced dead at the scene. Word spreads fast in Memphis. Within an hour, hundreds gather outside Makeda's. Crying, praying, angry. They killed him in his own city. One fan says through tears, while he was buying cookies. Who does that? Police rope off the area with yellow tape. They collect shell casings. Take witness statements. But the killers? Long gone. That night, Memphis feels different. Tense. On edge. People wonder if there'll be more violence. Retaliation. Maurice Hill, the cookie shop owner, closes his business indefinitely. Too dangerous to stay open. Too painful to work where a man just lost his life. Young Dolph's partner, Mia J., posts a video of him playing with their daughter. "How am I going to tell my babies that daddy is never coming home?" she writes. The city mourns. But beneath the grief, questions swirl. Who wanted Dolph dead? And why now? After surviving 2 previous shootings, why couldn't he escape a third? The answer goes back years. To a rivalry that started with words, but ended with bullets.
100 shots. How the fuck you miss a whole 100 shots?
Before the murder, before the beef, there was just Adolph Thornton Jr. born in Chicago. Raised in Memphis, Castalia Heights neighborhood. Rough area. Not many make it out. But Dolph did. Started rapping in his early 20s. No major label. No industry connections. Just raw talent and hustle. "I was raised by my grandmother," he once said in an interview. "She taught me independence. How to make something from nothing." 2008. His first mixtape, Paper Route Campaign. Named after the job he had as a kid. Delivering newspapers. Making his own money. His style? Authentic. Gritty. Real-life stories about the streets. About survival. About making it on your own terms. By 2016, he'd built a following. Not mainstream famous, but street famous. The kind of fame that matters in places like Memphis. Then came the offer. $22 million from a major label. Most rappers would have signed that contract before the ink dried. Dolph said no. "I can't sell my soul," he told Forbes magazine. "I'd rather own my masters. Build my own empire."
I'm like, should I take the 22 million? Or fuck the 22 million? Fuck the 22 million.
He founded Paper Route Empire. His own label. His own rules. Complete control. His album, Rich Slave, hit number 4 on Billboard. Without major label support. Unheard of in the industry. But Dolph wasn't just about music. Or money. Every Thanksgiving, he'd give out turkeys in Castalia Heights. Paid rent for families facing eviction. Donated to his old high school. "Success means nothing if you can't bring your people up with you," he'd say. The day he died, he was in Memphis to hand out Thanksgiving turkeys. 200 of them. To families who needed help. That's the part that hits different. He died while doing good. While giving
I
back.
just like doing it, you know what I'm saying? Like putting smiles on people's faces, you know what I mean? Like Thanksgiving for everybody, Christmas for the...
And here's what most people miss. Dolph wasn't killed because he was a rapper. He was killed because he was independent. Because he said no to the system. Because he built his own lane. In Memphis, that independence made him a king. But it also put a target on his back. Memphis rap ain't like other cities. It's darker, grittier, more personal. And in Memphis, Two camps dominated the scene: Paper Route Empire and Collective Music Group, Young Dolph's label, CMG, Yo Gotti's Empire. The beef started in 2014. Simple enough. Yo Gotti wanted to sign Young Dolph, offered him a deal. Dolph turned it down. In most industries, that's just business. In rap, that's disrespect. I said no to Gotti because I wanted to build my own legacy, Dolph explained in a radio interview. Some people can't handle rejection. For a while, it was quiet, just tension beneath the surface. Then, 2016 happened. Dolph dropped Play Wit Yo Bitch, a direct shot at Yo Gotti, called him Ho Gotti on the track, claimed he slept with the mother of Gotti's child. In the streets, those aren't just lyrics. Those are fighting words. February 2017. Charlotte, North Carolina. Dolph's SUV gets shot up. Over 100 bullets. Broad daylight. Most people would have been killed. But Dolph? His car was bulletproof. Custom job. Cost him $300,000. Instead of laying low, Dolph dropped an album called Bulletproof. The lead single, 100 Shots, where he mocked the shooters for missing.
100 shots. How the fuck you miss a whole 100 shots?
Think about that. Someone tries to kill you with 100 bullets, and your response is to make fun of their aim. On a hit record, that's not just confidence. That's playing with fire. September 2017. Hollywood, California. Dolph gets shot multiple times outside a hotel. Survives again. 3 broken ribs. Hospitalized for weeks. Police arrest Corey McClendon, an associate of Yo Gotti. But they release him. Not enough evidence. Dolph recovers. Goes back to making music. Back to taunting his enemies. They want me dead so bad they can taste it, he posted on Instagram, with a picture of him counting money in a hospital bed. For the next 4 years, things cool down. On the surface, at least, Dolph focuses on his music, his family, his charity work. But in Memphis, people whisper, the beef isn't over, just dormant. In this city, grudges don't expire, says one Memphis producer who knew both rappers. They just wait for the right moment. November 2021. That moment arrives. Here's what most news reports won't tell you. 2 weeks before his death, Dolph posted a video. Standing in Memphis. No security. Bragging about how safe he feels in his city. I'm too real for these streets, he said. They respect me too much to touch me. Was that the final straw? The last bit of disrespect that couldn't be tolerated? If you're still watching, you're probably wondering, why am I telling you all this background? Because without understanding the years of tension, you'll never understand why a man was killed over cookies. And you'll never see the warning signs in your own life when words start turning into weapons. Like this video if you're following. Let's continue. 3 days after the shooting, Memphis PD releases the first solid lead. Surveillance footage. That white Mercedes. Clear as day. We're looking for 2 male suspects, Chief C.J. Davis tells reporters. Armed and dangerous. Consider them a threat to public safety. Social media does what it does best. Speculation runs wild. Everyone's a detective. Everyone's got a theory. Then a break. January 5th, 2022. U.S. Marshals track down Justin Johnson in Indiana. Stage name Straight Drop. A local rapper. Small time. 23 years old. 2 days later, they arrest Cornelius Smith Jr. in Mississippi. Both men charged with first-degree murder. Both plead not guilty. But here's where it gets interesting. The arrests don't feel like the end. They feel like the beginning of something bigger. These 2 weren't acting alone. One detective tells local news. We believe this was organized, planned, paid for. Memphis holds its breath. waiting for the next domino to fall. November 2022. Almost a year to the day after Dolph's murder. Police arrest a third suspect, Hernandez Govan, 43 years old. Not a rapper, not famous, just a name most people had never heard. The charges? First-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, criminal attempt first-degree murder. In plain English, they're saying Govan set it all up. The middleman, the one who arranged the hit, weeks before it occurred. The evidence? Phone records, text messages, calls between Govan, Johnson, and Smith in the days leading up to the murder. And a witness, Cornelius Smith himself, flipping on his co-defendants, telling police that Govan offered them $100,000 to kill Young Dolph. $100,000, the price of a human life. But who would pay that kind of money? And why? According to Smith's testimony, the money came from Anthony Big Jook Mims, Yo Gotti's brother, a key figure in CMG. The prosecution's theory? Big Jook wanted revenge for years of disrespect, 4 diss tracks, 4 rejected offers, for making CMG look weak. So he allegedly reached out to Govan, who reached out to Johnson and Smith, who pulled the triggers, a chain of death, each link connected by money, pride, and revenge. But theories aren't proof. And in America's justice system, proof is everything. As the cases moved toward trial, no one could predict how differently they would end. $100,000, cash. That's what it allegedly cost to end Young Dolph's life. Not in installments. Not in Bitcoin. Cold, hard cash. The prosecution built their case around this theory. That Anthony, Big Jook Mims, CMG's behind-the-scenes power player, had finally had enough of Young Dolph's success. His independence. His mockery. But Big Jook needed layers of separation. Plausible deniability. That's where Hernandez Govan supposedly entered the picture. Govan was the broker, Assistant District Attorney Paul Hagerman explained during opening statements. The middleman who connected those with money to those willing to kill for it. Smith's testimony painted a detailed picture. Said Govan approached them at a Memphis nightclub. The alleged plan was methodical. Track Dolph's movements. Learn his routines. Find the perfect moment when his guard was down. That moment? Makeda's Cookies, a place Dolph visited regularly. What makes this case different from typical street violence is the corporate structure behind it. Like a deadly business transaction, complete with middlemen, contractors, and payment plans. After it was done, we were supposed to meet Govan to get paid, Smith testified. But everything went sideways when the heat came down. The money allegedly changed hands in parts. Some up front, the rest after completion. Standard practice in murder-for-hire schemes, according to FBI experts. But here's what's truly terrifying. This same pattern plays out in neighborhoods across America, just with smaller amounts. 5,000, 10,000, sometimes just a few $100. The psychology remains identical. Someone feels disrespected, can't handle it themselves, pays someone else to do their dirty work. You might be thinking, this is a rapper thing, a street thing, not my world. But ask yourself, how many times have you seen someone unable to let go of a perceived slight? How many times have you watched conflicts escalate beyond reason? The difference between those everyday situations and what happened to Young Dolph isn't the emotion. It's just the resources available to act on that emotion. And that's why what happened next in court matters to everyone, not just hip-hop fans. September 2024. Shelby County Criminal Court. Justin Johnson's trial begins. The alleged shooter faces the music. The courtroom? Packed. Family members, reporters, fans, everyone wanting to see justice for Young Dolph. The evidence will show that Mr. Johnson executed Adolph Thornton Jr. in cold blood. The prosecution's star witness? Cornelius Smith, the alleged second shooter, now cooperating, looking to save his own skin. "We were hired to kill him," Smith testifies. "Justin knew exactly who Young Dolph was, knew exactly what we were doing." Smith describes the day in detail, how they spotted Dolph's car at Makeda's, how they grabbed their guns, how Johnson allegedly fired first. "After it was done, we drove to a house in Orange Mound," Smith says. "Watched the news, saw what we had done." The defense tries to paint Smith as a liar, a man saying anything to avoid life in prison, but the evidence keeps stacking up.
You were facing a mandatory life sentence to get out of. Why would you need to make so many different statements if you were telling the truth? Because remember, the truth is the truth. You don't.
Cell phone records place Johnson near the cookie shop. Surveillance footage shows the distinctive Mercedes, registered to a relative of Johnson's. Then there's the gun, found during a search of Johnson's home. Ballistics match bullets from the scene. Johnson doesn't testify. His attorneys argue Smith acted alone, that the evidence is circumstantial, that reasonable doubt exists. The jury doesn't buy it. After 3 days of deliberation, they return their verdict: guilty on all counts. First-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, being a felon in possession of a gun. The judge sentences Johnson to life in prison, possibility of parole after 51 years. He'll be 74 before he has a chance at freedom. Johnson was just the trigger man, the hired gun. What about the person who allegedly paid for the hit? Hernandez Govan's trial is set for August 2025, almost 4 years after Dolph's murder. The question hanging over Memphis: will the alleged mastermind face the same fate as the shooter, or will he walk free? And what about Big Jook, the man allegedly at the top of this deadly pyramid? Will he ever face charges? The answers would shock everyone and change everything we thought we knew about this case. August 2025. Same courthouse, different defendant. Hernandez Govan faces the same charges that sent Justin Johnson to prison for life. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't about who pulled the trigger. It's about who allegedly orchestrated everything from the shadows. The prosecution's theory remains unchanged. Govan served as the middleman, the connector between Big Jook's money and Johnson's trigger finger. Without Hernandez Govan, this murder doesn't happen, the prosecution argues. He's the link that made everything possible. Govan's defense attorney, Manny Aurora, has one primary target: Cornelius Smith's credibility. Throughout the trial, Aurora hammers away at inconsistencies in Smith's story. Points out that Smith initially told authorities Big Jook hired him directly. Questions why his story changed.
You were facing a mandatory life sentence to get out of. Why would you need to make so many different statements if you were telling the truth? Because remember,
the prosecution presents their phone records evidence, shows calls between Govan and Big Jook, then calls from Govan to Johnson and Smith, all in the time frame before the murder. But Aurora counters with a simple argument. These records only show that calls were made, not what was said, not what was agreed to. The state is asking you to fill in massive blanks with pure speculation. The prosecution fights back. Presents Smith's girlfriend, who testifies that Smith told her about the hit, says he later contacted Govan to retrieve his phone and payment. But without recordings, without text messages explicitly discussing the murder, without a clear money trail showing $100,000 changing hands, the state's case remains circumstantial. After closing arguments, the jury receives the case around 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., just 3 hours later, they have their decision. Not guilty. On all counts. The courtroom reaction is immediate. Shock, tears, confusion. How could the alleged mastermind walk free when the shooter got
The
life?
jury found the defendant, Hernandez Govan, not guilty in count 2 of the indictment.
The truth finally came out. But for Young Dolph's family, there's no closure, no peace, just more questions. If you're feeling that knot in your stomach right now, that sense that something's not right with this verdict, subscribe and share this video if you haven't. People need to see this case. They need to understand how justice can slip through the cracks. Share it with someone who thinks the system always works. Because what happened next proves it doesn't. January 2024. 8 months before Govan's trial. A restaurant in Memphis. Anthony "Big Jook" Mims is having dinner with friends. The man prosecutors claimed ordered Young Dolph's hit. Yo Gotti's brother. CMG's power player. Gunshots ring out. Big Jook falls. Multiple bullet wounds. Pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests. No suspects named. Just another unsolved murder in Memphis. Coincidence? Maybe. Street justice? Possibly. A message? Almost certainly. When Big Jook got killed, everything changed, says one Memphis music producer. The whole case against Govan lost its center. But there's another tragedy here. One that cuts deeper than courtroom drama. September 2022. Houston, Texas. A woman named Destiny Govan is shot and killed in her car. She's a rapper. Goes by Lotta Cash Desto. Signed to Lil Uzi Vert's label. She's also Hernandez Govan's daughter. Think about that for a second. While Govan sat in jail, accused of orchestrating Young Dolph's murder, his daughter was gunned down. Before he could even stand trial, before he could prove his innocence, 2 men were charged with her murder. No connection to Young Dolph's case found. Now put yourself in his shoes. If he truly had nothing to do with Dolph's murder, as the jury ultimately decided, then his daughter died because of a lie. Because people believed he was involved. An innocent man lost his child to the same violence he was wrongfully accused of orchestrating. That's the true horror of this case. The ripple effects. The collateral damage. Lives destroyed not just by bullets, but by accusations. By rumors. By the assumption of guilt. Young Dolph. Big Jook. Destiny Govan. 3 lives ended violently, all connected by invisible threads of loyalty, revenge, and music. And somewhere in Memphis, Cornelius Smith sits in a cell, waiting for his own trial, the only person who claims to know the full truth. If you're still with me, you're probably wondering, will we ever know what really happened? And does it even matter anymore? For years after Young Dolph's murder, we're left with more questions than answers. A jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces missing. One shooter convicted. One alleged mastermind acquitted. One supposed orchestrator dead. And one alleged second shooter awaiting trial. The official narrative has collapsed. Fallen apart under the weight of its own contradictions. If Hernandez Govan didn't arrange the hit, who did? If Big Jook ordered it, why wasn't he ever charged? And if neither of them were involved, who paid for Young Dolph's murder? The truth in Memphis stays buried.